meeting of the what? Okay, okay, great, thank you. Yvonne, you confused me. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Westcat Board of Directors meeting of May 12th, 2022. Can we have a roll call, please?
Norma Martinez Rubin.
Here.
Thank you. Dion Bailey.
Here.
Maureen Powers.
Here.
Maureen Toms.
Here.
Tom Hansen.
Here.
Tiffany Grimsley, absent excused, and Aleda Andrino Chavez.
Here.
Thank you.
So we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's a roll call and pledge of allegiance. I'm skipping. Okay, let's please join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
So now is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll move approval. Tom's.
I'll second. Bailey.
Okay. We have a vote.
Sorry. Norma Martinez Rubin.
Yes.
Dion Bailey.
Yes.
Maureen Powers.
Yes.
Maureen Toms.
Yes.
Tom Hansen.
Aye.
Aleda Adrino Chavez.
Aye.
And Madam Chair, if I might jump in just for a second, the agenda is structured this evening to provide for a closed session at the end of the action items. And that'll be handled the same way that it was in previous meetings, where those members of the board who are attending the closed session will adjourn to a separate meeting. And then when that meeting is concluded, they return to this main board meeting for the conclusion of this regular meeting.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for the information. Do we have any public communications?
No, we do not.
Okay. No members of the public either, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar is item 1.1, approval of expenditures of April 2022. Action requested is approved item 1.1. Any issues, any calls? Anybody wanted to pull an item? No. Hearing none, let's vote.
Make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Okay, motion by Bailey. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Martinez Rubin. Please, can you call the roll? Yeah.
Norma Martinez Rubin.
Yes.
Dion Bailey.
Yes.
Maureen Powers.
Yes.
Maureen Toms.
Yes.
Tom Hansen.
Aye.
And Aleda Adrino Chavez.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next is item number 2 is items for board action and discussion. We have item 2.1, adoption and resolution of Resolution 2022-09, finding that there is a proclaimed state of emergency, finding that meeting in person would present imminent risks to the health or safety of attendees as a result of the state of emergency, and authorizing remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the Western Contra Costa Transit Authority for the 30-day period beginning May 13th, 2022, pursuant to AB 361. The action requested is a formal adoption of Resolution 2022-09. Is there any discussions, comment, questions, or just let's move with
I'll move approval.
approval? Yeah. Second,
Second.
approval moved by Maureen Toms and seconded by Maureen Powers. We have the vote, please.
Norma Martinez Rubin,
Yes.
Steve Bailey,
Aye.
Maureen Powers,
Yes.
Maureen Toms,
Yes.
Tom Hanson,
Aye.
Aleda Adreno Chavez.
Aye. Motion passes. We do have item 2.2, formal appointment of Robert Thompson as director and Deborah Harris as alternate to represent Western Contra Costa Transit Authority on the board of directors of the California Indemnity Pool. Joins powers associate. Action requested. Formal appointment of director in alternate positions.
Okay,
Do you
Madam
have
Chair, if I could.
a presentation? Yeah.
So this is the primary way that we get insurance for our services in our agency. We have been a CalTIP member since the late 80s. It's been a very effective way for us to insure our risks and also participate in the various risk reduction programs that CalTIP offers. CalTIP requires and benefits from active participation by its member agencies through the appointment of directors to the CalTIP board, and also allows for an appointment of an alternate. I've been serving as the director for a number of years now, and Rob Thompson has actually been more actively participating in recent years and has been familiarizing himself with the way that the CalTIP functions. He's been a member, appointed member of the Finance Administration Committee at CalTIP for some time now. And so I think it is time to transition that director's role to Rob. And because of the technical nature of the work that CalTIP performs in assessing their financial position and, a number of the sort of technical and financial aspects of the insurance program and the insurance pooling, we're recommending that Deborah Harris be appointed as the alternate director. So that is the staff recommendation, and that does require a formal motion and action by the board to accomplish it.
Thank you. Any comments from the board members?
I'll just comment that I
Okay.
think this is a very important position, I believe, and to have Rob fill it, I think is a good move. I don't know very much about Deborah. Perhaps she could give us a little bit of a background. Maybe everybody else does, and I don't, Deborah.
No, that's okay. So my name is Deborah. Everyone knows. I started WestCat in January of this year. My background in finance and accounting stands to I have over 7 years experience in accounting and finance. 2.5 of those years came from public transit. Prior to me joining WestCat, I worked at nonprofits, and my latest position was with another transit authority, Solano Transit Authority in Tucson. So I'm pretty familiar with CalTIP. I have a bachelor's in accounting and a minor in management. I have a master's in business with concentration in accounting and management as well. So I tend to always have my hands in some form of accounting in terms of budgets, liabilities, income statements, the whole accounting cycle. So me going to CalTIP or joining Rob will be something that I can learn and grow in my position and to help WestCat to the best of my abilities.
Excellent. Sounds like you guys are going to be a great team.
Yeah, thank you.
Accomplished.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I understand that this is a very important appointment and that Westcott has benefited a lot from being a member of this body, of this association. Any more comments?
No, I'd like to move the item.
Okay, let's do it.
Second,
All right, who seconded? I'm sorry. Just okay.
Director
Maureen.
Powers.
the other Maureen.
Okay, item moved by Director Toms and seconded by Director Powers. Can we call the vote, please, Mika?
Yes. Norma Martinez Rubin,
Yes.
Dion Bailey,
Aye.
Maureen Powers,
Yes.
Maureen Toms,
Yes.
Tom Hanson,
Aye.
Aleda Andrino Chavez.
Aye. Motion passes. So moving on to item 2.3, adoption of resolution, resolution 2022-10, approving the SB1 State of Good Repair project list for fiscal year 2022-23, committing to comply with all conditions and requirements set forth in the certification and assurances document and authorizing the general manager to submit a request for a scheduled allocation of the SB1 State of Good Repair funds and to execute grant applications, forms, and agreements. Project name is local match for purchase of replacement vehicles, requested SGR amount of $85,452. Do we have a report?
Okay, I'd like to ask Mike Ferneri to briefly report on this one.
This is an annual request we have of the board. And it's, as stated, Senate Bill 1, which includes a program annually that provides about $100 million for eligible transit maintenance, rehabilitation, and capital projects. This year, we've been allocated slightly more than we did last year, $85,452 in state of good repair funds, which we are proposing again to use for to fulfill our local match requirement for upcoming vehicle purchases. This is something that the board has approved use of these funds for in the past. And while I apologize if this seems repetitive, but this process does require board approval each year. So we are once again seeking your approval to submit a request for state of good repair funds in the amount stated, $85,452 for local match for upcoming vehicle purchases. Again, it's probably something you've heard before, but again, it does require your action this evening, and we're asking that you approve. Any questions? I'd be happy to entertain them.
Thank you. And as you said, this is just a quick question here. This is an annual program for the to provide the match for the vehicles. Is that right?
It is, and that's from Senate Bill 1, which is the Road and Repair and Accountability Act of 2017.
Okay. How many vehicles are we talking about? That I think we mentioned it in there.
Well, we have, in the next few years, we're planning on replacing, I think, a total of about 6 vehicles. And, you know, we're required to, the federal funds make up about 80% of that. We have to come up with 20% local
20%.
share. So these are the types of funds that we're using for that purpose.
Great, thank you. Any comments from the board members? Oh, I see a hand by Norma Martinez Rubin. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. To clarify, is the approval from the board specifically to request the funds or to approve the use of the funds? The purpose of the funds?
All of the above, and in doing so, you're authorizing us to actually submit the application to apply for those funds for that specific purpose, because that's what's reported to them as what our project will be.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm wondering why, could there be alternative purposes? And that would lead to a discussion by the board. And I'm just wondering why we wouldn't do so. I mean, it seems all good and necessary, right? Needed.
Yeah. So I think, do we move approval of resolution number 2210?
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2210.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, move by, is that Dion Bailey? I'm
Bailey,
sorry.
yep.
Yeah,
No worries, no worries.
and seconded by, who did it? Maureen Thoms, yeah. And do we have a vote, please?
Norma Martinez Rubin,
I still have a question in my
Oh,
mind.
okay. Okay, great.
we were-
I'm sorry. I mean, there was
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, it seems it seems really favorable to approve it. It may seem like repetitive, yes, I understand, but it just leaves me to wonder if elsewhere, if there have been boards that would not approve and why that might be so. It's just out of curiosity.
Well, it may depend on the project that is presented for use of the funds. I can't speak for another agency or what they may or may not do. But there are different projects. I mean, there are different projects that people apply for, and perhaps it may raise a question with the board why this particular project. It may not be quite as cut and dry as what we're doing, so perhaps it could raise some question with another board.
And if
Fair
I could,
enough.
if I could provide just a little bit more background too. There are a number of purpose-specific funds that we receive that can only be used for certain types of projects. And this is something called out in the SB1 legislation that is for essentially the maintenance of physical assets that we have. So this is a good use of it. And we're in the situation of trying to put together as many capital specific projects as we can to meet the local match. Because if we don't get outside funding for them, then it comes out of our Transportation Development Act funds, which are also called on for operating expenses. So when we can use a capital specific project or source of funding for local match, we tend to recommend doing that.
And if I may, the adopted resolution is a requirement of the application package, is it not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for adding that, Charlie. It just enhances my appreciation for a yes vote by the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so continuing with, we have a motion on the floor by Dion Bailey and seconded by Maureen Thoms. And then we have a vote, please.
yes. Norma Martinez Rubin,
Yes.
Dion Bailey,
Yes.
Maureen Powers,
Yes.
Maureen Toms,
Yes.
Tom Hansen,
Aye.
and Aleda Andrino Chavez.
Aye. Okay, item 2.4. Adoption of disadvantaged business enterprise goal for federal fiscal years 2023-25 and authorization for the release of the DBE goal for a 30-day public review / 45-day public comment period. Action requested is approval of the anticipated disadvantaged business enterprise goal for federal fiscal years 2023 through 25. Do we have a report?
Yes, we'll turn this to Mike as well.
Yes, so federal regulations require that WESCAT implement a disadvantaged business enterprise or DBE program to ensure non-discrimination in the award of federally funded contracts. So as part of this program, WESCAT has to establish a triennial goal for DBE participation in all contracts that are going to use federal funds. So one thing that I'd like to clarify in this explanation is that the use of the term goal in establishing DBE participation level is not reflective of the ambition of WestCat. Rather, it's a fixed calculation that's based on a series of set figures and anticipated use of federal funds. So these figures are used with, it's a standardized formula that ultimately calculates an agency's target for participation in projects using federal funds. So really a better word to describe this is a projection rather than a goal. And for the federal fiscal years 23 through 25, WestCat anticipates using the majority of our federal funding for the purpose of vehicle replacements. And vehicle replacements are not subject to the goal setting process. However, the transit vehicle manufacturers that we purchase the vehicles from are required to have their own approved DBE program. So there is still, in fact, the DBE element of vehicle purchase. It just goes through the vehicle manufacturer. Outside of a small amount of federal funds for ADA operations, there are no other anticipated projects using federal funds over the next 3 years. And there, with no additional contracting opportunities available, our anticipated projection, DBE projection or goal, is actually 0%. So, and just a note regarding those ADA paratransit funds that we also use some federal funds for. And part of the process in developing the DBE goal, there are no DBE firms within our market area to actually provide that service, which is why we end up with a 0% goal. So with this in mind, we're recommending the adoption of our DBE goal for the federal fiscal years 23 through 25, and the authorization to release that goal to the public for a 30-day review period and a 45-day comment period. And that will go, that's done via our website.
Do we have any comments or questions for Mr. Fornari? Okay, Norma Martinez Rubin, Director Rubin has a question.
Thank you. Please take my questions as a way first.
I think you're cutting
Area.
off.
What is our market? What is the WestCat's market area?
It's the 9-county Bay Area.
Wow, that's much smaller than I expected. Okay, I thought you were going to say United States, but no, just the Bay Area. And are we restricted to that because we are a regional agency?
Realistically, for the service that we would provide, the agency would need to be relatively local to provide that kind of a service. And traditionally, most all of our contracts come from within that market area.
Okay.
So any other question? I do have a question comment. When my understanding of if you're not meeting these goals, you have to show good faith effort. Does that, especially that's specifically in construction grants, do you have to do that here too?
Yeah, if there was a goal, if we had an actual, say if there was a 2 or 3% goal and we were not meeting that goal, I mean, you always have to show good faith efforts to try and achieve that goal. But there are some rules that you have to follow in doing some shortfall analysis. If you are not meeting your goal, it wouldn't apply to us with the 0% goal, though.
I see. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I don't have any more questions. The board members, any questions? I'm hearing none. So do we have a motion to approve, to adopt the disadvantaged business enterprise goal for federal fiscal years 2023 through 25 and authorization for the release of the DBE goal for the 30-day review period and 45-day public comment period. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Director Powers move, a second.
I'll second.
Director Martinez Rubin, second. Can we have a vote, please?
Norma Martinez Rubin,
Yes.
Dion Bailey,
Aye.
Maureen Powers,
Yes.
Maureen Toms,
Yes.
Tom Hanson,
Aye.
Aleda Andrino Chavez.
Aye. The next item is item 3.0, committee reports, 3.1, general manager's report. Charlie?
Okay, so we are, as we speak, in the middle of our triennial review process, which is the Federal Transit Administration very detailed and rigorous evaluation that they do every 3 years, essentially to ensure that we're in compliance with all of the federal regulations that are associated with our funding that we receive through the federal government. So they actually look at our compliance with things like the DBE program, the Title VI program, our procurement methods, our methods of delivering service and informing the public. It's quite, it's a multi-departmental type of evaluation process. At the end of April, when we were gearing up for this, there's quite a bit of information that we need to share with the reviewers prior to their actually engaging us in the conversation to follow on all of the details and questions that they might have. So as we're preparing for that, we suffered a ransomware attack, which essentially disabled our file system entirely. So it's been quite an effort to kind of recover from that, get the reviewers the information that they need. And I think that's all by way of saying what an excellent job our staff and MV's staff has done in reacting to that and participating fully in the process of getting the reviewers the information that they need. And I think the reviewers are quite happy with the way that the agency conducts its work, its business on all of these various complex levels involving federal funding. And just a heartfelt note of gratitude to everybody who has, stepped up and gotten that done with the reviewers. So we have the exit conference tomorrow. We'll find out the basic prognosis for what the final report will say. But I think all the indications are that the reviewers are very confident in how we are carrying out the federal requirements. And so that's, again, due to the efforts of all the people who have participated on both sides of our building in that. So Peter, thank you to your staff, and let me thank my staff for that.
Thank you, Charlie. Is that the report?
I think that probably is the report. Actually, we're pretty immersed in that right now, so that's the main focus. And the final report will be distributed to the board when it's been reviewed by the FTA and when it's been released. So you'll be seeing that probably within the next month, maybe the next board meeting, or possibly the one afterwards.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Yeah, I know it's a very involved process. So but you're already dealt with the ransom, the software hack and everything, so everything is resolved? The computer?
Yeah, so
Not
we're
entirely, but we
yeah.
are functional for now.
Okay, great, great. Well, thank you for all your work, everybody, and especially, also Rob and everybody who's been contributing to this process. I know it's very involved, and also your contractor has to do a lot, and Peter. So thank you very much, and Rob and everybody, all the staff at Westcott, wonderful people. Thank you for the report. Well, this is just for information. The next one, the next report is 3.2, is the WICTAC representative report.
Yes, and I was unable to go to the April 22nd meeting, unfortunately. They did discuss the TEP, which CCTA is developing. I do not know the outcome of the discussion, but each RTP, each regional committee is able to present and discuss additions or changes to the funding structure that's proposed. When the minutes come out, I'll be glad to let you know what was decided there, what kinds of projects they undertook. The other thing they did was report on the high capacity transit study and the kind of the outreach that they were doing, which I think I mentioned last time. I'm sorry I missed that, because it would be interesting to see what people, how people responded. So I apologize, but I wasn't able to attend. I don't think Aleda was able to go either.
Maureen, so these meetings are still hybrid, is that right? Or
are still,
are still on Zoom or a hybrid? I don't know how the format is.
They're still Zoom. They're still completely.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, tomorrow I'm attending the meeting, so so just for everybody's information. Okay. Let's see, next item. Any questions about that? I mean, I just don't want to go to the next item without the opportunity to comment. No?
I would just comment that the CCTA plan is pretty important for us to pay attention to, and WCTAC takes it very seriously, of course, because it determines the kind of funding that dribbles down. So, it's on the web. You can look at it. I suggest that you do if you have time. It's interesting.
Thank
you.
you.
Compare what we have, what filters down to us compared to other areas in the county.
Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is item 4.0, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Yvonne or Mika? Okay, no correspondence. Item
No.
5.0, board communication. No board communication?
I'll just
Oh,
quickly
okay.
say.
Okay, great.
The chair. I was going to say, to the staff that worked on that security incident, I don't know the details of it, but I know that it's very challenging. There's a city up the way that had a similar experience over the holidays, over the end of the New Year holiday. So thank you guys for the work that we did not see you doing, because I'm sure it was a lot in the background. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dion.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Director Bailey. Okay, so next one is closed session, and so the board will now be adjourning into a closed session time pursuant to Government Code section 54957 to discuss a matter of public employment involving the general manager. So before the closed session I'm going to ask if there's any member of the public who wishes to address the board specifically on the closed session item. Give it some time. No? Okay. So it is not anticipated that there will be any action, but in case there is, it will be reported at the end of the closed session. Do we have a room?
Yes, I'll go through the instructions again, just real
Okay.
quick. In a moment, I'll ask who, of course, is going, so I can assign those members to the room. Once the room is open, you will receive an invite in your screen. You will click it. That will take you to the secondary room and just those people. When you are done with the private session, in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, your button that says End Now will be green and say Leave. Clicking that will return you to this room and to the meeting. While everybody's gone, we will pause the recording If you guys would like to let me know who is going, I will get you assigned.
Okay, maybe I can help with that. And before I do, just the editorial comment, it is Rob Petty who has actually been getting us back up and functional. So credit where credit is due.
He hinted
Rob-
to that a little bit. He said he'd been busy the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks. I just didn't know when it was over, but yeah.
Very busy. Okay, so I'm just going to go in the order that people appear on my screen. So Director Martinez Rubin, Director Toms, Director
Yep.
Hanson,
Hanson, yep.
okay, Director Bailey, Director Powers,
Powers, yep.
Director Toms. Did I miss you? And Director Chavez.
Yeah, I already got Tom's. Okay, and then anybody from our side or just those members?
I think the board will convene first, and then if anyone is called in, then we'll ask you to admit that person.
Okay, I'm opening the room with those
Thank you,
members.
Charlie.
Everybody should get their invites. And there they go. And I'm now pausing the recording until they return now. All right.
Thank you very much for waiting. The only item to report out of a closed session is that we will continue this discussion under closed session probably at a future date, which might be May 23rd, but it's not, confirmed yet. Okay, so I think we move to on to item 8.0, which is adjournment. We adjourn this meeting at 7:59. See you in June. I
Have a
think
good
it's
night,
June, yeah, June 9th. Is that right? Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
All right.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank-
Thanks, everybody.
Happy Memorial Day.
Thank you.